we could very well be looking at the last great bull cycle. The reason people come to crypto in 2024 is because they want to escape what's happening in the stock market. In today's video, I want to very plainly and bluntly explain from a person that has over 3 years of full-time experience in the crypto space. I'm not talking about someone that has just traded cryptos for 3 to 7 years. I'm talking about someone that puts in over 40 hours a week every single day into this industry. I'll be explaining why I think this is happening and more. So let's get right into it. Right now, we're red. I don't know if you noticed the background, but it's red today. But it doesn't feel like it's red because there's a lot of hopium in the industry. In fact, if you look over here in the fear and greed index, we are in extreme greed. I know some bears have begun to say that it's toppy. 93K might be a bit of the top. But in my humble opinion, I still believe there's much more room for Bitcoin to run. If you bought Bitcoin at the lows, we were actually covering Bitcoin on the channel when it was at $15,000, $16,000, $17,000, you would have gotten a pretty fair multiple, almost a 5x at this point from where Bitcoin was at the lows to where it is right now. We can expect more than likely Bitcoin to hit at least 140 to 150,000, if not more. I mean, I think that's a fair assumption. We can all agree. There are a couple, macro factors that are creating this situation, mainly the US. The US has become overwhelmingly pro-crypto. In fact, the new Senate Majority Lead is one of the sponsors of the Senate's AG bill to expand the CFTC's jurisdiction over digital assets. He's very pro-crypto. Donald Trump has made over 25 statements about crypto. He strongly supports crypto. And if we look at the House of Representatives, the Senate, 272 pro-crypto candidates were elected. 122 were elected that were anti-crypto, which, I mean, come on, there's so many more pro-crypto. In terms of the Senate, 19 pro-crypto candidates were elected with 12 anti-crypto candidates elected. If we look at the map, every purple state is a state that has a pro-crypto politician elected. Pretty much every state has pro-crypto candidates or politicians that were elected in one way or another. So it is really good. I mean, it's a really good macro state for the crypto industry. Now, why in the world would I say that we could possibly be looking at the last great bull market? Well, I'm really putting it in terms of people that are coming into the crypto industry expecting 300x gains in one cycle. I understand that right now we're in a meme coin super cycle. At the end of the day, though, there's going to be a lot more regulation coming because of what's happening here. Sure, pro-crypto is going to be good for the net benefit and the longevity of the crypto industry, but it is going to lead to a lot of these smaller cap coins being a heck of a lot more regulated. And also the multiples, there's diminishing returns that are going to be coming to the crypto industry. Let me just show you something here that's coming. I mean, the institutions are all over the crypto industry right now. Coinbase has created a brand new index fund. It's called Coin 50. He says it's a media play. It is pretty much 50 different coins that are on this thing. I mean, 50% weighted Bitcoin, 28% weighted Ethereum, 6% weighted Solana. So a vast majority of the fund comes to these three cryptos, but still, to say the least, there's still 45 additional assets on top of what you're seeing right here that make up the Coin 50 index. If you actually look at the concentration of the amount of people that are actually buying into these Bitcoin ETFs, you're going to notice that there's a staggering amount of money currently in these funds. In fact, the BlackRock fund, we all know BlackRock, $10 trillion fund, right? They have $42 billion just on their Bitcoin ETF fund. It came out to be that their gold fund got passed quite some time ago. I mean, it was a couple days, but Bitcoin keeps moving, so it keeps going faster and accelerating. It was about 33 or 34 billion for the gold fund. And now for the Bitcoin ETF, it's gone to a staggering $42 billion. I mean, it's enormous. You look at the list of the amount of people that are investing into this, it's vast majority of it in the institutional space. In fact, if we're looking at the meme coin super cycle, which right now is very much happening, while you can argue that $116 billion has gone to retail, the matter of the fact is that the institutions are buying into this. And you're going to ask me how in the world I know that institutions are buying into the actual meme coin super cycle. And the answer that I have for you is these ETFs. Sure, iShares Bitcoin Trust ETF, that's a Bitcoin ETF. But when Coinbase announced this right here, which is the Coinbase Coin 50 ETF, it marks to me the dead fast, high octane conviction that institutions have right now within the meme coin super cycle. I have direct proof. I can actually look at the market insights on what exactly people are going ahead and investing into. And the heat map for the Coinbase 50 index includes cryptocurrencies like the dog-themed Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, and Bonk. I mean, they're all over the meme coins. The meme coins have actually been a big driver of value for the Coinbase 50 index. And I found that to be very fascinating. There's more and more meme coin pressure. It makes you wonder how many of these meme coins are being directly influenced by institutions. I mean, if you think about some of the ones that were listed on Binance very recently, we can immediately pinpoint to, for example, Peanut the squirrel, which, I mean, shout out to Peanut, rest in peace, Peanut. But look at this chart. It got listed onto Binance when it was at about $120 million market cap, instantly went up to about 350 and is now, a couple days later, at $1.76 billion. These institutions have a lot of benefit for listing these coins. They're going to be the ones that, at the end of the day, are going to be getting a lot of those gains. Other things that are happening is a lot of the money is actually leaving crypto directly and coming into the stock market in the names of MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy has bought a lot of crypto, a lot of Bitcoin. I mean, I think it's about $13 billion worth of Bitcoin at this point. Their stock is outperforming severely. And while you may say, okay, well, that's good for MicroStrategy, what does it have anything to do with institutions, diminishing returns, and the great bull cycle? I'll tell you. 391% is a big fat gain because of the fact that they bought Bitcoin. How many trillion-dollar companies do you think are going to look at this percentage number and say, hey, you know what? Maybe we should take up a couple $1 billion worth of Bitcoin so we can get that number going up? And the answer is a lot of stocks are looking at doing this already. And so we're going to be getting this effect where institutions are more heavily incentivized to have Bitcoin in their balance bucks as a result of not only the US adopting this, but many of the stocks that have already been successful adopting it. It's just a snowball effect happening in the institutional space. At the end of the day, we have to go ahead and spend our money on our rent, many of the liabilities that we have in this world. These funds can just continue to raise money from rich guys and continue to buy Bitcoin and crypto. And so they're going to be going ahead and holding this thing. For people that think we're going to go back to $16,000, I don't think that is ever happening again. Just very blunt, I don't think that's going to happen again. In fact, I think that the time that comes when we hit 140,000, 150K, I don't know if that's the top. I think there's a strong probability we continue to run. But for me, that's my level, my psychological level where I think we're toppy. Once we hit that level, I assure you that the multiples that we go down aren't going to be as harsh. And that gain that you would have gotten from investing at the $16,000, $17,000 mark and selling at $90,000 to $140,000 will not be an opportunity anymore. All those altcoins that would have gone 95% down are just not going to go down as much unless they're just a coin that's run out of funding and it's just going to die, which happens in the crypto space. So I assure you that now is going to be that final moment before all of these altcoins start going absolutely parabolic and we don't get the same situation again. Could I be wrong? Could very well be wrong. If you look at the law of diminishing returns, it places the current increase of Bitcoin during this halving at about 195% over the halving price, which would see a Bitcoin peak of around $180,000 this cycle. Now, if it were to break this pattern, we'd be able to see a Bitcoin price of $304,000 to $520,000. And somehow, if it goes back to the 2017 bull run, we could see a coin up as high as $1.8 million per coin, which I really don't think is going to happen. I think that's a ridiculous price prediction. And that goes to show you that we've already been in this law of diminishing returns for quite some time. I mean, it's been happening over and over and over and over again. It assumes that back over at the first cycle, we had a 93x return. On cycle 2, we had a 30x return. And on cycle 3, we had an 8x return. So more than likely, a 3 to 4x return, maybe. A 2x though will put Bitcoin around $130,000. Just a 2x from halving. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. So what sectors do I think haven't broken out where we can take advantage of this last great bull? In my opinion, my big bet that I've invested over 6 figures in this cycle is the crypto gaming bull market. Right now, as you can see, crypto gaming hasn't really had that big run. If you look at the yearly chart, sure, it went from 12 billion all the way to 37 billion, but nowadays it's kind of ranging at about 21 billion. The reason is, of course, the meme coin super cycle has soaked up a lot of that altcoin pressure. Second thing, Bitcoin has continued to run, hasn't really had that big correction. Sure, the background is red, but it's only down about 1%. What we're waiting for is the next big catalyst to send this thing to the moon. And that for me has to be off the grid. In my opinion, the best crypto game that has ever been created. They've had Ninja, Tim the Tatman, Shroud, XQC. Many of the top streamers in the world already play this. They're going to have continued marketing on this. There's been some solid reception. If you look, they've had over 10 million player-created wallets that have been created during the gameplay of this game. And if you look at their testnet, sure, they've had a bit of a correction since the top at 4 million transactions per day. Today, they're at about 2.1 million transactions. But you compare it to where they were before, pre-early access, and that was what, 150,000, maybe 200,000 at this little peak here, where they were probably testing some stuff at 2 million. They are very much set up to be an absolute success. They have $100 million worth of funding. Godzilla's not playing around. And Off the Grid for me has been the most enjoyable gaming experience I've had in the blockchain so far. These being built on Avalanche for me is going to be a surefire winner when the Gunzilla token comes out. When Gunzilla token comes out, a lot of these gaming plays that have been down and beat down for quite some time are finally going to get that attention and begin to run. And that last bull cycle, big conviction play is going to come into play. I'm expecting a lot of ecosystem plays. There's a reason that I'm big into the node narrative. I do strongly believe in the narrative that a lot of these coins that are up here, these ecosystem tokens, are not going to persist being the top coins within this niche. I do think that there are going to be new players that replace these major coins within the crypto gaming space, except maybe Superverse, culture coins, meme coins in the gaming space. Ecosystem tokens that are actually building great games like Off the Grid, they're going to be the new ones that go to $10 billion and beyond. So that's where I personally am placing my bets right now, and why I think this is the last great bull cycle and where you can go ahead and capitalize in this upcoming crazy Q1 2025. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you on the next one. Here's a video you should go ahead and watch, and that's all.